hey, good morning, good morning. Hey, I'm just taking some photos of this new guitar that I've just finished. That will probably go out to its commissioner, its new owner, its new whatever, in a couple of weeks. So it's just sitting now that the French polish is pretty much done. It's just curing a while before I send it out. I was just about to take photographs of it, but I thought I'd make a little video tour of it because he also ordered one of the beautiful Visit Nut cases, and I think this is called the Chameleon. Chameleon? Anyway, it's kind of a purple-blue shot silk kind of thing. It's beautiful case, and I've done a review of their cases before, and they're fantastic cases, but I thought I'd do another one, especially showing off the beautiful color. Anyway, here we go. Okay, let's see if I can get the color is gorgeous. Like, it's really beautiful, very subtle, actually. Kind of shibuya. I was thinking it would be more bright and stuff, and I was like, oh, I don't know about so bright, but actually it's a gorgeous, gorgeous color. You see, I'm not sure with this camera, with this phone camera, if you can see the gradations. Yeah, the Visit Nut cases are really beautiful. I usually recommend it to people if they can afford them. They might be the best cases in the world right now. I suppose that's a debatable thing, but I would say so. Anyway, part of the point being is that my guitars are not cheap, but they're definitely not expensive like in the States or Europe. Let's see if I can change the exposure there. But it's nice when people are willing to buy a case for what's a really beautiful instrument, you know? Anyway, it's really kind of like a suspension case. Here's the guitar. And you can see that the center, I don't want to just drop the guitar anyway. So you can see on the edges there the cushioning and stuff, right? Hang on a sec. Okay, now the really one of the great things about this case, other than being super strong, and you can see the seal here in different climates, it's fantastic. But one of the great things about this is this Velcro, and you can adjust it. Just look at the upper and lower bout there. You see how it's moving? In the upper bout, you can really see it. So that snugs into the guitar itself and creates a really, basically perfect fit, you know. And yeah. Back in. Okay. And the new versions have a little strap that goes against the headstock. A nice touch. Beautiful dark blue lining as well. Okay, and here's my guitar. Oh, no, it's not mine. Well, I love this guitar. I've been playing it, you know. One thing that happens that many people will know is that with a spruce top, it opens up over time, right? And as we all know, over a period of half a year, even more, it will open up and it will become more of its real character as it's being played. And of course, it opens up right away, you know? Like the second you put strings on, until a day later, that's when the biggest opening up is, in my experience. And this instrument is no exception. And yeah. It's got some nice silk. It's called silk, these kind of grains that go this way. Everything I do at the moment is by hand, you know? Like I bend over a pipe, bend the sides over a pipe. I cut the channels, the binding channels by hand. All that. I mean, it ends up not being like a factory instrument, which is kind of the point, right? If I can get it close up there. Kind of the point. So every now and then you can find some unevenness here and there, and anyway, yeah, it's just the nature of the beast. One thing I've used is I've used flame maple here, like the white, the light colored is flame maple, and knowing that it takes because there's like the flame has different tones, right? And it really, I was hoping it would pick up some of the tone of the ebony here and create a kind of sort of a heightened dapple effect, and that's indeed what happened. You know, quite pleased with that actually. The neck is Port Orford cedar. Cedar, and we've got traditional wood ebony friction pegs in this one, with the option of switching over to geared pegs. That's easy to change. It'd be a bigger deal to put in traditional classical tuning machines in this instrument. And the bridge is bocote. And so I thought because of the rosette that I made, it's also got a golpe plate. You can see the edge right there. It's a flamenco. And because the Macassar ebony has some tonal variation, I thought it'd be really nice to match the bridge, a bit of the Macassar ebony fingerboard, and the head plate is the same bocote. Basically what I do is I take one of the bocote bridges and I cut it in half and seam it there in this one. Sometimes I'll put a piece of veneer in between or something, but in this one I thought it'd be nice just to leave it as is. I've done a video of how I do I'll show you this, how I do the bridge. It's a 12-hole bridge. So here's a good example of how it goes through. Got my label in there. See if we can get a shot of that. Oops, it's out of focus. There we go. Yeah, I have a special label. It's just my name, and I usually write in the date and where I make the instruments. Yeah. The top is a Engelmann spruce, and the back and sides is a Spanish cypress. This is the first time I've used the Spanish cypress actually. Normally for my blancas I use Canadian cypress, or Alaskan yellow cedar it's also called. And yeah. The finish is done. I just have to do kind of a final polish that I do. Bring out the shine a bit more. Yeah. So you got a bit of 2 strips of veneer in there. It kind of matches the maple on the sides. Pretty simple. I really prefer my purfling to be simple. I don't usually go more than 2. Here we've got ebony and flame maple in my purfling. Same in the back. And on the top, we've got, we've got some ebony binding, flame maple, ebony purfling, and then another layer of flame maple just where it touches the guitar. It's hard, you wouldn't really notice it, I think, unless you look carefully. The frets I use are Evo Gold frets. I really like them. Actually, they're harder, a little harder than the nickel silver that's typically used, but not as hard as stainless steel. Somewhere in between, I imagine. I love them. I mean, I like the, I like it that I love the rosy color, right? It's not too crazy and garish or anything. But mostly I really love working with them. For some reason, I get a better result from this slightly harder fret than I do with the nickel silver. I don't know. Anyway, yeah. So that's about it. Here's where I live. You see there's a stream right outside where I am. I know. It's pretty nice. So that's the tour of this new guitar. And I put strings on it maybe last Monday. And just last night I started playing, my fingernails have been off. So I put on fake fingernails. And oh man, I started playing it. I was like, oh no. There's another instrument I don't want to get rid of, but I have to, and it's going to a great home. A really nice young fellow commissioned it for me, and grateful to have the opportunity to do it. Oh, I didn't show you the tail a bit. Yeah, so this is the kind of treatment I did on the tail piece. It's a little wider. I mean, it's basically two strips of the binding stuck together. It's a little bit narrower, but it's the idea. So it's kind of coming thin off the back and then wider in the center of the bottom of the backs. Yeah. Right, so like I said, there's the tour of the new guitar. I'm going to do a video, actually I'll probably piece it all together. I'm going to do a video of me playing it later this afternoon perhaps. You can get a sense of the sound of it. I really like it. Every guitar I make is a little bit different, but I've been using a similar bracing pattern for all my flamencos just in the last year and a half, 2 years even. So they all kind of have a similar sound to them, and this is no exception. Of course, I have 3 guitars in my studio, which are for sale, by the way, and they have a different sound than this one because, of course, they've been played for a couple of years, right? So they have opened up. So it's a slightly different sound, but I can tell by playing it this one's going to be really beautiful. And I got the action really nice and low, like 3 mil, a little bit lower on the low E, and I think 2.75 I managed to get on the high E. And so with flamencos, part of the challenge, well, part of it is everything's made super light, right? And you don't want to get too stiff on the sides or the back, and because it's kind of a drum as well as a string instrument, you know. So you're always struggling with that, and everything's really, yeah, it's so light. The instrument's like a feather, right? And one issue that you need to work on, like I think in classical, I mean, there's people from the forums, they'll talk about the distance above the soundboard, the strings above the soundboard and stuff, but in flamenco a lot of players are really specific about that, and there's like say 12 millimeters off the soundboard would be too high for a lot of people, including me actually. Not that I'm a big flamenco player, I've always used flamenco guitars for my own music, you know, just because I love the quality of that instrument. But on my guitars, I'm usually getting around 8 millimeters, 8 or 9 usually, above the soundboard. And for me, that's great. I think some players just like want 7 and stuff. But anyway, I won't go into details about how you achieve that. And it took me a few guitars. The first ones I made were about 10 millimeters, and this is crazy, right? We're talking about like fractions of millimeters and all this kind of work, you know. But the first ones I was making, I was getting about 10 and a half. Now because I changed the curve of the Solera mold that I use so that there's more curve coming up under the strings. Anyway, whatever. So now I'm getting around 8, 9 and a half, 8 to 9 usually, which is good. I think I'm happy with that. I've been sticking with the same form. Anyway, so that's that. I'm gonna do some photographs and then I'll click in with some playing soon. Okay, see you in a bit. Testing. Hello. Oh, look at this new guitar. Well, I've already shown you a video of it. But as I promised, I'm going to do some, just a bit of playing. That's not a performance, I'm just playing a few things. to get it tuned up. Might as well talk about tuning with the friction pegs. Quite often what I'll do is I'll go below a bit, then reach up, and I guess you can kind of find your own way around how you brace it and how you sort of adjust the pegs. You can brace your fingers in different spots, you know? So that's about right. If it's a little sharp, you could pull a bit, but that's just for the finest things, right? So sometimes when I'll go below the pitch and reach up, while bracing, I'll brace the fingerboard up here. Like, you never want to go here and push the pegs in, because, you know, don't want to break it. I'm kind of fussing with this one today. I find in my studio here, because I often have a dehumidifier going, the climate stays pretty stable, you know. And I'll often be able to play the guitar for a couple days, 2, 3, 4 days, and not even really have to tune. But the tuning changes happen a lot more often with. What I did here is I wanted to go up a bit sharper, so I just pushed down here a bit. That won't really hold for long, you know. And you don't need to tune and push in at the same time. Sometimes you need to tighten it in a bit. But like these ones, for instance, I'm just turning the pegs without any push here. You just basically get used to it, you know. Let's see where we're at. That's one of my party pieces I play when, you know, testing out guitars. I do this, and then I also usually do this one as well. They're both my own invention. I'll do this slow Irish slower. I haven't done any flamenco stuff. I'll do a little bit of flamenco stuff with it capoed up so you can hear that, because the texture changes. My flamenco's terrible anyway, but give you an idea. Anyway. On Rev 2 Eran Carrick. Okay, So what am I going to do? Should I put it up on the 3rd fret maybe? The capo? Okay, yeah. Yeah, let's see what we got. It's like a drum too. Sorry about that. But anyway, at least you get a sense of the kind of tone that comes off this guitar with the Rasquiatos and stuff. Just having a little bit too much fun here. Time signatures up. Sometimes I do this in 3s and sometimes 4s, and now I'm doing them in both. guitar like this. It's so light, eh? Part of it's to do with the materials and the construction. It's so great, and also having the tuning pegs, the friction pegs up top lessens weight, and that's part of that flamenco thing, right? Like trying to reduce weight. Some people think that like more weight in the headstock creates too much sustain, and you're looking for a balance of some sort, and of course that balance would vary a lot. For me, these are, for the flamencos that I make, this is what I'm looking for, this instrument, and my other instruments are in that realm too, for like a cypress type back, and yeah, I love it. But there's still harmonics. The way I do my bracing, it tightens up the harmonics a bit, is what I think, which creates a cleaner sound, cleaner being relative. Still lots of harmonics going on. But it can also, like as I just played, it's amazing how big you can make a guitar like this sound, right? Like if just strumming like that gives you a sense of the sound of this instrument. Yeah, it's been fun.